Vitor Belfort retruca novamente Acerino Popó. Lutador peso médio do UFC fala sobre Aldo no UFC 301. Dana White fala real sobre Mike Tyson e Jake Paul. Veja o vídeo e entenda. Parece que essa novela no mundo das lutas entre Popó e Bambam não parou ainda. Após Popó responder sobre o porquê não faria uma luta com Vitor Belfort, parece que o Vitor não gostou da resposta e retrucou. Esse foi o vídeo em que Popó responde o porquê não lutaria com Vitor.
Eu luto com quem eu quero, não com quem eles querem. E essa é a diferença. Sabe por que sou luta com lutador? Porque essa era já acabou. Quando eu era campeão mundial, eu fiz 12 defesas do meu cinturão com lutador. E fui lá e fiz. Ganhei um cinturão de super campeão do mundo por ter defendido. Será que eu vou fazer a mesma coisa agora? Com 48 horas? Não. Eu vou lutar com quem eu quero. Você vai lutar contra o Tyson? Porque você quer. Então, é isso hoje. Hoje eu luto com o que eu quero. Ah, mas os caras do boxe não estão desafiando, então tudo bem. Quando o Vitor começou a desafiar agora, ele, momento algum, perguntou para mim quanto é que eu queria ganhar. Momento algum, perguntou para mim quando ia ser, nada disso. Eu quero lutar, sabe por quê? Ele foi na hype do quê? Dessa mídia que tá tendo aí, aquela coisa toda, e foi para aquele se aparecer. Só que em cima de mim não, já cortei logo. Não vai, não vou te dar moral. Quem dá moral, o Popó é penico. Quanto mais pede, mete, mais pede.
O Vitor viu aquilo e teve seu direito de resposta. Se liga no vídeo.
Caríssimo Popó, em momento algum eu faltei respeito à sua pessoa e gostaria muito que você fizesse o mesmo. Palavras como difunto, mídia, querer aparecer, não se aplicam a mim. Mídia, tive e tenho muito. Lutas, fiz 2 recentemente, sendo uma delas com o ex-campeão mundial dos pesos pesados Evander Holyfield e o campeão mundial Ronaldo Jacaré. Defunto, estava você até um ano atrás. Ninguém mais se lembrava quem era Popó. Era apenas um político. Até você fazer a luta contra o Whindersson Nunes. Portanto, sua visão a meu respeito está equivocada. Eu sou um profissional do esporte e tenho uma história no mundo da luta. Assim como você também tem. O meu desejo ao te desafiar foi devolver o desafio que você me fez e dar ao público uma exibição digna desse esporte centenário que é o boxe. Você disse que vai lutar com quem quiser. Você tem todo o direito de fazer isso. Mas eu estou aqui te dando a oportunidade de fazer mais do que dinheiro. É de poder fazer história. E isso, dinheiro nenhum faz. Aqui, lanço de novo meu desafio a você, Popó. E aí? Vai fugir ou vai aceitar?
Você praticante de jiu-jitsu, muay thai, MMA, musculação ou qualquer esporte quer melhorar a sua performance nos treinos? Com a Max Titânio você encontrará os melhores suplementos para melhorar sua performance e objetivos. Ao entrar no site eles recomendarão kits para você atingir o seu objetivo, seja melhorar força, melhorar a explosão ou ganhar massa muscular. Atletas como Ramondino e Paulo Musi aprovam essa marca. Utilizando o cupom MAX10 Pitacos, você ganhará 10% de desconto em todo o site, além de você ter cashback em suas compras. Clique no comentário fixado e utilize o cupom MAX10 Pitacos. Após a confirmação do UFC 301, fãs de MMA, principalmente do Brasil, ficaram mais aliviados. Muitos diziam que parecia um card do UFC Fight Night, com um card fraco que deveria ter mais nomes de peso. Dana White atendeu o apelo do público e trouxe Aldo da aposentadoria. Lutadores ficaram surpresos, incluindo os gringos. Robert Whittaker, australiano e peso médio do UFC, deram sua opinião deste card. Se liga.
But moving on, Rob, we've got a bunch of other UFC news to talk about. One of the biggest pieces of news in the past week, UFC 301's fight card is coming together slowly. Apparently, they're still potentially working on a co-main for that event and that card. But we do have Alexandre Pantoja against Steve Erceg, the other Aussie, for the flyweight title. We've also got the return, the unretiring, if you will, of Jose Aldo against Jonathan Martinez. We've also got Paul Craig against Caio Borralho, Anthony Smith against Vitor Petrino, Michael Pereira against Mahmoud Muradov. So a few people fighting, also Joaquim Silva against Drakkar Klose. Rob, what do you think of this card? What do you think of the main event? And even Jose Aldo unretiring?
Well, I want to say congratulations to Steve Erceg to get that fight, man, for another Aussie guy to get up there and Man, he's fighting for a title. It's crazy. And I think a lot of people are going to be saying it's crazy because of just how many fights he's had in the UFC and how fast he's gone through the rankings. But this is what I always say about the UFC. It's just rife with opportunity. You just need to be in the right place at the right time and say yes to fights. And Steve's done that. His first fight in the UFC was a top 10 guy. And then he just kept plowing on from there. Won his last fight in impressive fashion, ready to do it again. And now he's fighting for the title. That is unbelievable. That is an unbelievable story. And, mate, looking at it skill set wise, Usyk could be the next champion, man.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because I know a lot of people were surprised by it. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't the first fight that I thought was going to get made for that division and, Pantoja's next opponent. But when you look at the rankings, how many people have Pantoja already ran through or someone's injured or they just fought or another situation. When you consider all of that in context, it actually makes a little bit of sense that Usyk is in that position. So good on him, man. Honestly, I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I think skill set wise, he has what it takes.
Yeah,
like he could be the next crowned flyweight champion.
What do you think though about Aldo returning?
Mate, I don't want to see him return. I don't. When saying that, he's not that old.
He's 37,
sure
I think.
Like, is he? I think he's younger.
Sure? I'm pretty sure he's 36, 37. Hold up. I'll find out now. We're Googling stuff on the go. He's 37 years old, born in 1986.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. I feel like he's done enough in the game. I don't know why he's...
Of course he has.
I don't know why he's coming back, but I feel like he's done enough. Yeah, I feel like he's done enough. I don't know. I don't like the idea of taking some time off, retiring, turning off that part of your mind, and then coming back to the game at 37.
I'm going to give a bit of speculation, and this is nothing crazy to say, but I think it's obvious that the UFC have thrown a bunch of money at him. The fact is, 301 is taking place in Brazil, right? That's the... where is it taking place? So it's taking place in Rio de Janeiro. I was going to assume that it was probably meant to be Pereira against Hill at that event, and they brought it forward because they didn't have any other fights to take place as the main event at 300, right? So if you had Pereira, if you had Pantoja, then that card's looking a little bit more beefy. But with Pereira fighting on 300, they kind of had to bring back someone with some sort of star power, and Jose Aldo could be that guy. So I get it. He was probably given a bunch of money, but what is this going to mean? Like, is he going to keep fighting? Is this a one and done? It doesn't make sense to me in that way.
It doesn't. And I can see where you're coming from that, and I like it. I like that theory. I think that makes perfect sense. But, mate, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he comes back, though, and puts on the best performance of his career. And I hope we see that because, like, I'm a fan of Aldo, to be honest, But I'm never really a fan of guys retiring and coming back. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like, especially in the craft that we do, you need that part of your brain primed and ready. And then when you retire, you switch it off. It's gone. And your instincts and everything, your body knows it's done. And it's like, okay, we can chill out now. And your body starts to revert to being normal again.
Yeah. I mean, we've just talked about this recently with the likes of Cejudo, right? I mean, look at his return. He had 2 losses against some very, very hard opponents. I'm not going to say that it mars their legacy or that it could mar Jose Aldo's legacy if he loses. Like, his legacy is what it is. But
it does.
Go on. Yeah.
But it does.
There's a question that is asked at the very least.
Like, if you look at Anderson Silva's legacy and then you look at GSP's legacy, that's like Anderson Silva marred his legacy by taking those fights at the end of his career.
Fair.
Not by much, okay? Granted, he's still one of the best to have ever done it, and his reign through the middleweight division was ridiculous. But it just doesn't... It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah. But that being said, that's us assuming that Aldo loses, right? He could actually win. I don't know. It's going to be a pretty hard matchup for him. But if he wins, he could go out on a high, especially in Brazil. It'd be a really cool moment for him.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, we called it all just viewed this as a one and done, and they have a cool fight to have in Brazil for 301.
You know what? And I hope that your theory is true, that they threw Aldo a bunch of cash, because I want to see Aldo make a bunch of money. So if they threw a ton of cash at him, I'm happy for that, because then he's making a big buck. Obviously, he's still a fighter. Like he can fight the best of them. I'm just voicing my fears about retiring fighters coming back.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair, man. But next topic we have is actually two different topics about two different weight divisions.
A luta entre Mike Tyson é uma luta que foi pega de surpresa para todo mundo. Fãs de lutas ficaram abismados e Dana White, presidente do UFC, recentemente foi no Pound for Pound podcast dar a sua opinião sobre essa luta. Veja o que ele disse.
You know, we're close with Mike Tyson. And I mean, how do you feel about this?
I love Mike, and I hate talking about it because he always gets mad at me when I talk about this stuff. But,
he don't give a fuck too. He'll
not
snap
thrilled
on anybody.
to see him do this stuff. But, when the fight happens, he'll be 58 years old. There'll be a 31-year age difference between these two. And, Jake Paul did fight a kid his age and he lost. I just saw this thing on the internet yesterday. I reposted it where it says if he beats Mike Tyson, he's going to fight Clint Eastwood next. Clint Eastwood's 93 years old. It's, I don't know, man.
I feel how you feel. I 100%, but it's not even more so on the side of Mike, because you did hit the nail on the head. As fighters, we are a little different, to where we always have a round in us. Doesn't matter how old we get, we always have a round left.
No, I get it.
And we'll put that round on someone, whether it's protecting your family or it's doing anything like that, we have a round left.
Well, I'll tell you, to really sum this thing up, so Mike was going to fight the Roy Jones fight, and I was all fucking bummed out, didn't want him to fight and all this shit.
But you know what? He surprised me, though, Dana.
Yeah.
Listen. I thought he put the brakes on.
I agree. He looked fucking great.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
And I was
So I said,
that
listen, Mike, I'll fucking get you other shit to make money. So I put him on Shark Week.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
I know you heard the story.
Yeah.
He goes down there, and he almost fucking killed everybody on the set the day that he had to get in the water with the sharks. And his story was hilarious. It's like, this motherfucker keeps telling me how much he cares about me, right? Yeah. I've been fighting since I was a fucking kid. You're going to throw me in the fucking water with a bunch of sharks, and you fucking care about me, and you want to fucking... He's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to help Mike and do all this shit. Mike's been fighting since Mike was a fucking kid, and fighting is what Mike knows.
Yeah.
And fighting is what Mike does. And, Shark Week was probably a fucking bad idea. I have to agree with him on this one. So,
and I mean,
you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Mike's a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
Can do whatever the fuck he wants, and I'm going to stay out of... I'm going to stay out of Mike's fucking business.
We it's not on the term of Mike. Mike, of course, 100%. And when I say we have a round left, I mean, fighters, we're not going to shy away from a fight, especially a badass like Mike Tyson. He's always, fuck it, let's do it.
Right.
I don't care if I'm 70.
It's true.
But what I'm getting at is, on the verge of Jake Paul, if you want to be taken seriously as a fighter, and you want to,
but he doesn't.
He doesn't
want to be taken seriously.
That's where I'm getting.
What Jake wants to make money.
Yes.
The people that follow Jake Paul don't buy Jake Paul's fights. So Jake Paul has to fight people who can actually sell pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I
think it's freaking crazy that we're even talking about. Anyways, moving on, Dana, I think it was cool in the beginning when you first started, how you were in line with the production. I remember in that interview where you're talking with Big Boy, you're talking about how you make sure that you always try to give somebody an experience. So if the light was hitting too bright on somebody, why is that light on top of them to being a promoter, to being a manager at that time? How much has your leadership actually changed now that you're, the president, CEO? Because I imagine you have more help, but how is it that you actually structure everything to make sure everything gets done correctly?